Okay, the best first step I can take is to create a new Maya project. This won't create a new project, but a new scene. In fact, if I come down from File to say Save, it's Save Scene. This is a scene, whereas a project will hold many scenes if I want, and we'll have special file folders for image textures and normal maps, etc., that Maya will expect to be populated. So I'm going to create a new project, which is File, Project Window. Whatever it says up here, default, it says I'm going to make new, and I'm going to call this, I'll call it Aviator Assembly underscore project. So the project actually is project in the name. I'm going to use similar names, so this will help me later. The default location is my C drive, but I want it to go to my coursework. So here's my course for Dig 320 simulation. I'll right click in here and say new folder, and I'll call this Aviator Assembly. So the project, Aviator Assembly Project, goes in the Aviator Assembly folder, and I'll just say select and accept. Now this scene can go in the project's scenes folder. So File, Save Scene. And here it wants to go to Dig 320 Simulation, Aviation Assembly Project / Scenes. So this is the Scenes folder, so I'll call this Assembly. I don't know if these are the best naming conventions I've ever seen, but I do think I'll be able to understand them even later when I've forgotten what all this is about. I've been having some problems with Maya crashing, Mudbox crashing. So I'm going to pause this video and shut down Maya and open Mudbox. I want to kind of keep them from running at the same time. Here's my Mudbox sculpt. It's nicely painted. I'm going to begin by extracting some important texture maps. So I'm going to create a new operation. I want the normal map. So I want the basic head the source to be level 4 and the target to be level 0, and that's what I've got. If that's correct, then the only thing I'm going to change here is turning off anti-aliasing. I'm not going to change the bits or the default file format. So I'll just name this, and this is going to be normals, norms. But I don't want it to go here. I want it to go to my course folder. Aviator Assembly Project, source images. Okay. And now I should be able to extract it. So it says it's completed successfully, and you can see it has been applied to my model, which already had a lot of modeling. And in fact, if I go down to the lowest level, you can see that's what it looks like applied to the lowest level. And in fact, here in my layers of paint, there's the normal map. If I turn it off and on, oops, you can see the difference. So with it off, that's my lowest polygon layer, and with it on, it looks pretty good. But this is not the most important thing here. I've exported it, so I can turn this off. And let's do another. I want to export another map. That was the normal map. Let's do a displacement map, which is essentially a bump map, a black and white map, from level 4 to level 0. That's good. 2 times anti-aliasing, so it's kind of learned that I want that. I'm not going to change anything else. There's my normal map, by the way. This is essentially a bump map. And so I'll say save. It'll be a PNG, it looks like, and hit extract. pause this while it's working. That didn't, that just hung up and never went. So I'm going to leave this displacement map for a minute and go to vector displacement. That's a color map, and it's probably not as useful for games as a displacement map, which is just a bump map, because I believe it will actually affect the geometry, and I'm not sure how. I think it probably will work for games these days, particularly not a very complicated game. I wouldn't want to do vector displacement maps on every non-player character if I had hundreds. So, for instance, so let's export this and see what happens here. From level 4 to level 0, 2 times anti-aliasing. This is vecdis. Vector displacement. It's going to go in the source images. This asks me if I want it to use this as a stencil. I tell no. And extract. That worked. Let's try another. So that was vector displacement. Let's try, oh, in fact, we can look here in the layers and see that there's now a vector displacement map. I can turn it off or on, but it doesn't seem to make much difference here in Mudbox. And actually, off and on probably what happened down here. Nope, I don't see any difference at all. So it might be useful in Maya, but not right at the moment here. So that's my vector displacement, my normal map I've got so far. These are my diffuse, these are my paint layers. Let's try another. Let's see if we can't get the ambient occlusion map. That's a black and white map that just does shadow painting from level 4 to level 0, 2 times anti-aliasing. This is OCK. That's ambient occlusion. Say save and extract. Okay, and now it appears as if somehow my paint job's gone bad, but you can see here in my list of paint layers, it's just that it goes into the diffuse stack. So I'll just turn that off as well. And it's been exported. And let's see if we can't get, I'm just going to save this, see if we can't get the one that didn't work before, which was the displacement map. And again, a black and white map. It shouldn't be that complicated. I think it defaults to a PNG. I'll give it a name, and this is vecdis. No, this is displace. This is bump. It's essentially a bump map. And extract. I'll pause it just because it may hang up again. It really does seem like this is not going to work. Here's what I've got so far. My vector displacement map, my occlusion map, the shadow paint, the normal map. I really would like to compare the normal map to the bump map, to a displacement map. So I'm going to save this again and restart Mudbox and see if I can't get that extra map. I've restarted Mudbox. Let's just try this one more time. So under UV maps, I'll try to get the extract texture maps. I'll try a new operation. I don't know what the difference that could make. I wanted the displacement map, which is a simple bump map. I needed to go from basic head level 4 to basic head level 0. I wanted anti-aliasing. I will leave that off if this has another problem here. And this would be called a bump. It's just a displacement map. And I'll pause. Well, that didn't indeed seem to work. I left it running for a few minutes and it didn't ever extract the map. I'm going to try to extract one from a slightly different version. Aviator head 0002. So the last one was just aviator head with no increment. So this is should be the same, but it's just a different file. Just see. Extract texture maps. Create a new operation. I just want the displacement map. I want to go from level 4 to level 0. None of this seems controversial here. I'll leave off anti-aliasing, just to see. This will be a bump map. So I don't know. There, sure enough, there it is. And was that all the maps I wanted to export? Let's look at the maps I have. So the ones I have are bump, normals, occlusion, vector. So vector, distortion, and this is just plain old distortion. You can't really see that, but there's some color in there. It's real dark. Those are all of them, except I never did try this one. So transfer paint layers. Now this has basic head, doesn't say anything about 0. And I've gotten error messages before. I can remove these, and then I can add selected, but I don't, oh, yeah, okay. Add selected, okay, basic head. So it doesn't say level 0 here. And you know, I did leave out the anti-aliasing there. I'll leave it off here too. And there's no naming convention here. It just says extract. Yeah, so this is I've gotten this before. Don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do with that. But here in layers, I can see my paint layers. Now I've created here a group with all these paint layers in it, but I didn't really need to do that. Turns out I could have just exported them. So this is a different version. It only has this bump map down here, but I'll turn it off, and I'll leave all these on, and yeah. So if I click away over here, yep. So there's the paint. All the paint layers are visible here. So I'm going to export them. Export all paint layers. And this maybe is where it's going to crash. Yes. So I'll go back to the other version. Give me a sec. So here I'm back to the non-incremented aviator head. I've turned off the occlusion map, which looks like that. And I've turned off vector displacement and normal maps, which I've exported from here. I'm not sure that those matter, but this one, the occlusion map, is in the same folder with or layer with all these maps. I'll save this, and we'll just say File, Export all paint layers. And so I've done this previously, and it worked very well. In fact, I probably still have the paint layers, but it is not working now. I'm going to keep working on this. So here I am back with just the blank aviator head, no incremental numbers. I've deleted all the extracted maps because they're in the folder where I extracted them to, so I don't need them in this Mudbox project. I have all the layers of paint here. Something should happen when I hit this that should give me some options, but it has not come up yet. I'll just save this. I've bumped it back up to the top, the largest number of polygons. Don't know that should make any difference, but I did successfully export paint layers from something that looked like this previously. Maybe I need to select the basic head and then File, Export All Paint Layers. I think it's going to crash again. So I have some research to do why this might be crashing. Okay, I think I figured out how to do this. So every time I try to, now I've been able to create new heads, paint them, and pull down export all paint layers, no problem. I get a little menu that asks me if I want to merge them all and where I want to put them and etc. But this one, there's no way I can do that without crashing Mudbox. And I don't know why. I've done it with this very head, or at least I had just exactly like this previously several times. And so here's a workaround. I notice here I have, this is in my layers, paint layers. I can duplicate layers, I can delete layers, and I can merge visible layers. So that will only merge ones that have these little dots turned on. But then if I merge them, then I'm stuck with them merged here. But I also have some other options here. And I may want to come back and edit them, so merging them isn't the greatest idea I've ever heard of. So that's merge visible. I can also merge a group, but here is what I'm looking for is export selected, and then I can export them one at a time, or I can export a group merged, and I think what happens is it will merge the export. I'm not sure what channel means, but I know what group means. And this is a group. So I've created a group, group 1. I'll just call it paint layers. So there's my group, and I'm going to drag these into the group. I just drop them in that folder, and they have to be the same order. So I make sure that I drag it underneath the most recent one. You can see it's indented now, so it's in that paint layers. So if I accidentally pull up here, I'm going to cover up something I don't want to cover up. So it's a little tedious, and it is a little painstaking. I don't want to lose my concentration and cover up something I don't want to cover up. So there is a group now. So I think I can do this. Export group merged. And this is where I've been putting all these things. So this is going to be called Paint Layers PNG. And here is my Paint Layers PNG, and you can see it is the UV shapes. So this is exactly what my work looked like previously when I exported all the paint layers through this method. So don't ask me. I can't tell you why that stopped working on just this model, But if it does stop working and keeps crashing, here's your workaround. Finally, I have my I've exported all my parts. I can show you. Here they all are. I have a bump map, a normal map, an occlusion map, my UVs, my texture map, my color map, and a vector displacement map. But I haven't exported, and these are all in my source images for my Aviator Assembly project in the Aviator Assembly folder. Yeah. But I haven't exported my model yet. As you saw last time, I had to export a group merged here because this started crashing Maya. And in fact, let's just see what happens. Yep. So as soon as it crashes, I'll restart. I guess, there we go. I won't make you watch me reload it. So that's just to show that there are often two ways or more to do a thing, and in this case I was able to export group merged. I have a group here of paint layers called paint layers. There's my group. I created it with this folder. Now I want to turn them all off because I want to export just the model without any of these paint layers. So I'm going to drop this down. And turning this off doesn't turn them all off. I have to turn them off one by one for some reason. And so then now they're all off. So now I can export. Hopefully, we'll see if it will crash me. I need to select my object here. So there's my basic head, and maybe I'll just choose the lowest mesh, which looks like somehow number lock. There we go. Which looks like that. I don't know why that looks like a. There we go. So now I'm going to export the basic mesh here. So I'm going to choose this and say File, Export Selection. It should choose FBX, and actually where should it go? I'm guessing in the assets folder of my Aviator Assembly project. I'm guessing that's where it'll look for it. That's where I'll send it. So here's Mudbox. Oh, I have several open. This is the one though. And oh, this is not the one. There we go. And I've got it selected. I'm going to select export selection. And I'm going to put it not here, but in my Aviator Assembly project assets. Yeah. And it's going to be an FBX, which is what I want, and I'll call it Aviator Head. I'm not going to show doing all this with the body, but then next, this will be the end of this tutorial, and in the Maya tutorial, assembling them in Maya, you'll see the body and all its maps as well. I don't think I'll have the problem I had with it crashing on the body. Don't know why it started all of a sudden, but anyway, here we are. Aviator Head, I'll call it, and it's going in the assets. Save. I think this will still work, so let's actually go to Maya, and I'll pause this while it loads. So this is my assembly. This is my assembly scene. File, import, and I think it should be assets. Aviator head FBX. It's Gigantor, but there you see it looks like it's fine. So in the next, so this has gotten to be long enough for one video. The next video I'll have the head and body in Maya, and I'll begin applying the image textures and all the other maps that I want to use. I won't use all the maps I've exported, but I want to have all of them out there so I can fool around with them and give myself the most options. So this is the end of this video, and there'll be one more coming for the Maya part. So here I have my paint layers, my occlusion maps, a vector displacement map, which I'm not sure I can use. I may have mentioned this one is black, but this one is correct. They're just two different exports, and one of them didn't work. My normal map and a bump map. And here I also have a couple of FBX heads with no texture maps or any other maps attached, so there's not a visual of those. So I'm going to launch Unity, which I don't have open, so I'll start it now. And I'll pause this because it takes forever. I'll say new project, 3D built-in render pipeline, create project, and then I'll pause this recording. All right, so here's my new scene in Unity. Here's my assets folder. I'm going to create a new folder in here. So that was right-click, create folder. Right-click, create folder, and I'll call this head. I do the same thing with the body, but like I say, I'm just doing this one at a time. I'll double-click to get inside head, and here is my head. Aviator head. I have a couple of them here. I just drag it in. And then in the source images, I'll grab this and this and this and this and this. Yep, that's all. Drag them in. So now, aviator head, I can just click and drag onto my scene here. Let's rotate the lights. There we go. So we get a little bit more in the face there. That looks great. So I had thought I would go into Maya from Mudbox, but all this stuff came right out of Mudbox. I'm going straight into Unity, and I'm going to do that. I'll show you why in a sec. So if I click on this, I can roll these up so I can see more of this material and roll that down. Can't change anything here. But if I grab this paint layers and drag it onto the object, there's my paint layers on the low poly model. Right? It looks okay, but you know, we're missing all the detail. So now, if I roll down the paint layers material, now I can change the metallic, the smoothness. There's like glass, and this is like, I don't know, like clay. It doesn't matter because I'll tweak those in a minute. But now that I've added the albedo here is filled with my paint layers. And maybe I want the normal map here. Actually, let's do the occlusion map first. So here's my occlusion map. I just drag it up here and drop it in the occlusion box. And you can see it darkened things up a little bit. And I can make it almost invisible, or I can make it quite a bit darker, but it's, you know, a limited range. I'll keep it up here fairly high here. Now let's add the normal maps. Here's the normal map slot. And watch this here real carefully. This texture is not marked as a normal map. So this is our issue. This is the same issue we had in Maya. And it's because whatever Mudbox is doing when it produces these normal maps, I think neither Maya nor Unity were fully recognizing them for what they're supposed to be doing. You can see there's texture here, but the seams are awful. But this button here says fix now. Voila. And so now I can change the metallicness, maybe make it a little more metallic, and the smoothness, maybe just make him slightly smoother than I had him, so he has a little bit of highlight here, and that pops out these details. The color seems to be not to be as bold as I think it should be, but that might even be a lighting issue. In general, I'm incredibly happy with that. That looks like my Mudbox high poly model, more than anything I've seen so far. So that's it. I'll do the same thing with the body. I'll go through the whole process. I will put all the parts in a Maya project, because maybe I want to pose the character in Maya. But then when I go to bring it into Unity, I'll make sure that the normal maps are not applied even in Maya, because I'm not sure what the issue was there, but I know that this looks fantastic compared to I don't know. I just undid everything. Control Y. Undo did not unfix the, somehow didn't unfix the normal map. Okay, so that's it. I really like the bumps. Look at those bumps. They look really great. This edge, I can see that there is no geometry there. There's a little geometry here on the fish scales there, the gills, but there's no geometry where those bumps are. They just look like there is. But this edge shows me that there really isn't. I mean, that's just the here. We can see here these raised waffling. That's what I call this stuff, waffling. That edge shows that there's nothing raised there, but it looks raised. So that's the effect we want from a normal map. I've been dissatisfied with the way the normal maps were appearing in Mudbox and in Maya, but they look great here. That's it.